their analytics.
This show is made possible thanks to donations from listeners like you. Thank you so much for your support. You can find out more at tipsfromthetopfloor.com. This is Chris Marquardt of Tips from the Top Floor, the free show about all things photography at tipsfromthetopfloor.com. I'm happy to be a regular guest every Sunday on the Tech Guy radio show with Leo Laporte. And here's another session with Leo that was originally broadcast on US-wide syndication, including XM satellite radio, on June the 28th, 2009.
I'm going to China on Thursday, and I'm really limited on how much, because we have some inter-country flights, I'm very limited on how much gear I can bring with me. I think it's 40 pounds in the suitcase and 10 pounds in carry-on. I have about 80 pounds of camera gear, so I have to pare it down. Fortunately, I have good friends. Chris Marquardt's on the line with us right now. Hey, Chris.
Hello, Leo. How's it going?
Great. Host of the Tips from the Top Floor. Thank you for staying up late.
No problem.
And doing this with me because I'm freaking out, Mr. Chris Marquardt.
You're packing for China, right?
Yeah, and I have real limits. And, you know me. I bought every lens I could imagine. And, I can't bring them all with me.
Well, that's a bit of a problem because I think, let me guide you through a few questions and we'll hopefully end up with something that you can work with.
I hope so, too. Too. All right. So, first of all, I'm bringing the Canon 5D Mark II. There's just no question about that.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Even though it's a pretty heavy camera, but you'll not want to jeopardize on or skimp on the image quality. Absolutely not.
No. Yeah.
So, for question number one, will you be with photographers?
No. Well, I'll be with amateur photographers. I'll be with a tour group, and then I'm going to do MacMania the cruise, and there will be a lot of other people with cameras, certainly.
Right. Because that will determine the others, let's say, their level of tolerance for you stopping and changing lenses and making them wait and things like that.
That's a good point. But you know who I'm with, who has no tolerance? My son, Henry.
Well, maybe you could teach him a bit.
He says, put it away, Dad. Pay attention. Live life a little. Stop living behind the lens.
So that means you won't be able to take like a whole bunch of lenses with you because you'd be annoying the others, right?
I can take anything I want. I'm not worried about annoying anybody.
Okay.
So that's an appropriate question, but in this case, I'm not going to be limited by that. No, I don't care.
Okay. Second question, how much equipment can you comfortably carry with you all day?
Well, I have a big camera backpack, and then I have a little one of these Lowell sling.
The slingshots that you rotate around your body.
Love that. But that'll only carry one body, and 3 lenses. And it can't carry a really big long one. I have the 70-200 really long lens. I'm worried about getting
2.8?
Yeah.
The really big one?
It's a really nice lens, but I'm worried about getting arrested as a spy if I use it.
In China, that might actually be possible.
It's huge.
Yeah. So do you have any precedents on how much you can carry?
They said that my carry-on is limited to 10 pounds.
10 pounds?
Yeah, that can't be right.
That's not much.
That can't be. This is the inter-country, flights, which are much more. But I could buy more weight. I'm sure I can give them $50 and say, "Can I carry a little bit more?"
So the question is, do you have a good walk-around lens, like an all-day lens kind of thing?
Yeah. Okay. So let me tell you what I have. One lens I love and I really want to bring is my 50 millimeter, just kind of stock 50 millimeter, but it's really fast.
Is that the 1.2?
1.2. And that's great for night shooting. It's also great for, remember, this Canon will also shoot very high quality video, and it's great for video in kind of darker places.
True. Very true. So that is a good choice because a 50 millimeter will also, it'll kind of force you into doing better composition. So it's also, you can learn on the job, basically.
Yeah, I brought it to the carnival yesterday, and I had to walk back and forth to adjust instead of zooming.
That's what we call sneaker zoom.
Sneaker zoom.
Yes, walk back and forth, but that'll really teach you what that focal length will do to your picture. So taking a 50 millimeter is usually a good choice. The 1.2 might be a bit heavy, but then again, it's going to be you who's going to carry that all
then
around.
I have
it's your choice.
Yeah, I don't mind being a pack. And also, sometimes I'll take one lens and leave some others behind and not have everything every day. The other lens that comes, the kit lens is a big zoom, 24 to 105.
Yes.
And
that is actually the one lens that I had with me on the Everest trek, the trip to Nepal.
Yeah, you had to face this. You had to face this because you couldn't carry much up the mountain.
Well, we had porters for some stuff, but then everyone had like their at least 10 to 15 pounds backpack with photo equipment with them. So I decided on, actually I only took 2.5 lenses with me. I took the 24-105 4L. That's very good lens as a walk-around lens.
I have that one.
That was on my camera, I would say 90% of the time.
Wow. Okay.
And then I took a 17-40, which is a very wide angle, 17 millimeters on a full frame camera like the 5D Mark II is really wide and it's really a lot of fun to play with. But then you typically can't do all those wide angle shots all the time. And that's why.
But I think in China, I'm sure this is true in Everest too, with these landscapes, these beautiful Chinese painting landscapes, that I'm going to want something pretty wide.
Well, actually, one of the focal length most used by landscape photographers is 24 millimeters.
Oh, so I have that.
You have that in your walk-around lens. Yeah.
But I have a 17-35. Maybe I'll take that.
That's a good idea. If you want to go wide, 17 is really cool. You can use it a lot. But for landscape pictures, I rarely go beyond 70 millimeters because what happens is if you go this wide, it'll really distort the proportions. Close things will look very close, and far away things will be very far away. So if you have a landscape picture at 17 millimeters, there's a good chance that there won't be much landscape on it because it's so far away.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that. But so I'll bring the 17, the 50, the 24-105. That means I'm leaving out. I mean, I have a macro lens, which might be fun, but I probably won't use that much.
Well, macro stuff. I decided against that.
You see my problem here.
Yeah,
I could say, well, there might be. I might want to, and of course I'll get there and I'll say, darn, I wish I had that. And then I won't bring I have a 2X extender. That
which
might be useful.
I brought, by the way.
Yeah, because it's light. It's fairly small.
Yep, I have a Kenko 2X extender, and I used that a few times.
So what that does, folks, is doubles the focal length. So if you put that on a 50, then it's effectively a 100 at a cost because, of course, it dims down the aperture, so it darkens it by a stop or two. But
it dims down, and it'll also take a bit away of the image sharpness, the detail sharpness.
How about a tripod? Would you? Should I?
Well, we had participants on the workshop in the Himalayan mountains that took tripods with them. One even took 2 tripods with him, but he regretted that afterwards.
Okay.
They're
heavy. How about a monopod?
Yeah, you could do that. I decided to go with what my friend John Miller says. He says, the world is my tripod. So you have things around you.
I'll put it on Henry's head.
Yeah, right. Why not?
Stand still, Henry.
No, but
you're right.
You could, for example, lean against something. Yeah. You could prop the camera up on a rock or on a fence pole or something. So you will always have something around you that you can use as a kind of makeshift tripod.
Good point. Okay, no tripod. That's good. You just saved me some weight.
So will you be able to charge batteries on a daily basis?
I hope so. If not, I'm in deep trouble. And the real problem with the Mark II, this newest 5D, is nobody has any batteries. I think unless I'm lucky and I can find a battery, I'm going to have one battery.
Well, I moved a lot of things to get more batteries before I went on my trek.
I probably should.
And I had 5 batteries with me because the ability to charge batteries will determine the amount of batteries that you might want to take with you and the amount of chargers. Because if you have electricity only for a limited time, you'll want to be able to parallel charge multiple batteries.
Wow.
So in Kathmandu, for example, even in the big city of Kathmandu, they have an electricity problem. So some days we had 8 hours or more of no power.
The irony is all of this stuff comes from China. I'm bringing everything back to all the everything I'm bringing, every bit of technology was probably, even my shoes were probably made in China. So,
yeah, right. So if you are days without power, if you expect to be days without power, the battery for the 5D Mark II is a really good battery. Depending on the amount of pictures you take, and if you cut a bit down on the review times, and if you don't use the display too much, you will actually probably be able to do several days on one battery. If you don't,
I see that JNR Music World now has battery packs. They're $93, so maybe I'll only get one.
What? That's a bit much.
Because they know it's a shortage. They're gouging people.
It's true. So I managed, actually, a friend of mine who